Hi, I'm Andre Faust, and today I'm going to talk about my third test of the Hubsan X4 H107C. I could do this real fancy, Hotel 107 Charlie drone. Yeah, that sounds so cool and so radio like. But today the temperature was -8 degrees. We had a wind of 16 kilometers coming in from the west, and for those who are in the nautical part, 8.64 knots from the west. January 21st, that's good. Yeah, I like that. That means that there's only two 2 months left before this horrid winter ends. At one point I was actually thinking of moving down to Ecuador for the winter. So before we go to the flight, I just want to talk a little bit about the Hubsan, this particular model. It's a very small drone, as you can see. This photograph I took of it in my hand. Pretty good picture, I'd say. I have no ego. But it weighs 50 grams. That includes the battery, and it has, I've added the propeller protector because I don't want to break my blades. Even though it's a cheap quad, I treat it like it's a $1,500 quad. But the propeller protector is going to give me a problem a little later on in the flight. But I'd rather preserve the quad rather than to take it off. There may be some other time that I'll take it out to an open field and remove it where there's a lot more room for air. But where I'm flying it, there's a lot of trees, and statistically, I'm going to pile it up into the trees, and you'll see in this video that I have piled it up in the tree. It's just you try your best. Now, this time here, unlike the other times, I left the audio on. In the previous test, I removed the audios, and anyway, I forget if I talked about what the other two tests were. It must be senior moment that I'm getting. So I apologize if I'm repeating myself, but the first test was a night test to see if the video camera, how it would handle low lighting. It failed. It just didn't work. The only time you could really see anything was under direct lighting. My second test was in a day that there was no wind. I took it up to about 125, 130 feet, and then brought it back down. And at that height, that little drone, it's really hard to see. And of course, it doesn't have any fancy technology. It doesn't have altitude stabilizer. It doesn't have GPS stabilizer. It doesn't have return home. It doesn't have any of this. These things that the more expensive quads have. Some can even detect if they're getting too close to an object and they'll back off. Well, this thing doesn't have it, and it's not first-person view. You fly it, in line of sight. It gets out of sight, and it's gone. You're gonna have to search for it. But what do you expect for $50? But still, $50. Like I say, I treat it like a $1,500 quad. It's why throw money down the sink when you don't have to? So we're just going to do just a quick, it was a wind test, today's date, 21st, and, life is good. So I started out, from the ground up, facing the east. The wind's coming in from the west, like I said, it's 16 kilometers or 8.64 knots, and it's not too bad at this point there. I'm getting pretty confident. I'm saying, hey, this is no pun intended. This is a breeze. I'm not going to have any issues. I took it up to about 20 feet, and no problem. But boys, in a few seconds, I'm going to be finding out a whole different story because I get confident overconfident. I know there's a 16 kilometer. I go up, take it to 35 or to 85 feet. Wind catches it, and you see it. It crashes into a tree. I thought I lost it. I thought I lost it, but I got near the tree, turned my power on, and it fell out of the tree, and I'm happy again. I have my quad. And the protector did protect the blades in that case there. So in this flight, I kept it under 35 feet. And that's because I don't want to lose my quad. And I know now that if I take it up to any height that gets the wind, I could go 300 feet away from me in a blink of an eye. And because it's so small, if it landed 2 yards over, the likelihood of me ever finding it is highly remote. But it's not doing too bad. You can see that the wind is moving it around quite a bit. I'm having to play with my controls, with my trims, with my having to adjust the elevation, because it doesn't have that built into it. I have to do that manually. If it had it into it, it would take care of a lot of that overhead. But I have to do it manually, and I have to always keep my eye onto it, and I have to be always conscious of what point that I'm at in the X, the YX Z axis. Mentally, I have to create an image of that. So you see my pooch there. It's not the quad that's making him jump up and down. He's not even really interested into it. What he's all horned up about is that there's a dog dragging his owner down the sidewalk, and he wants to go play with that dog. And heaven forbid if that dog comes up to the fire hydrants on the corner of our property, and he's a little, what I mean, right? That really burns him up because he's tied up, right? But anyway, he's kind of good in the ways that I can use him to try to track him, because he moves and whatnot. And I always want a challenge, right? I want to be able to see, if I can, how well I can keep tracking him as he's moving back and forth. And that one of the things that I don't do is that I don't fly over him, and it's a matter of safety. I don't fly over people's houses or cars. You got to use common sense and safety when flying these, whether it's this little quad or it's a $65,000 quad. Safety is the most, and you've got to follow the regulations. The regulations are made for that. With the bigger quads, it can't exceed 400 feet. So we're concluding this flight, and it was a great little flight, and I didn't lose the quad after all, even though at one point I thought I did when I took it up to 85 feet, and it was so quick. Now, if you look at, if you understand, a triangle, right? I basically went up the hypotenuse, and as we move up, at my level, 2 inches at 85 feet represents probably 30 feet. That's why when that gust of wind came, within seconds it was gone. But from practice of when problems happen, to shut my power down, as soon as I seen that I was in trouble, I shut my power down. So the wind just took it and it crashed it into into the tree. If I would have tried to keep my power on, I would have probably lost it, because it might have gone, 500, 600 feet from me. And once it would hit the snow, I mean, how would you find it, right? And by the time that I'd get there, the battery would be dead, so I'd have no indicators. So, yeah, but when it hit that tree, I mean, I just happened to see that it went that direction, and I hope that, that tree caught it. And, I got to the tree, and then I said, okay, I can't see it. It's somewhere's up in the branches. And, I powered back on, and I could hear the propellers. And it was actually about a foot above me, and once the propellers went, it loosened it and fell on the ground, and I had my quad. So, even, even as much caution as you take, you can lose these things. So thanks for, watching this, and, I put this out for two reasons. One is for my own future reference, and the other is for anyone that's, thinking of, getting into drones. My recommendation is, go, if you're a complete newbie, go with, a cheap little quad, master it, and then, upgrade from that. So, I don't know if I'll be doing any more of these here. This is pretty well my objectives. Was the night test for video camera, height test, and the wind test. It failed on the night test. The video part did, because you had to be under direct light to see anything less than that was. But again, for $50, I mean, what do you expect? I mean, the ISO is not really that big. It's not like a DSL where you might have an inch ISO onto it. I mean, this little puppy is a cheap one. So once again, thanks, and maybe we'll do another one. Maybe I'll do a deliberate crash and kill all my passengers. Anyway, till then, bye-bye.